The Bold and the Beautiful, Brooke's shocking rejection, Ridge's double life exposed, and the collapse of a dynasty. The tides have turned on the bold and the beautiful. And what once seemed like a fairy tale reunion between Ridge Forrester and Brooke Logan has imploded into scandal, betrayal, and consequences that are reverberating through every corner of the Forrester and Logan families. The latest episode has detonated a bombshell. Brooke has rejected Ridge's proposal, and not just rejected it, but destroyed every illusion surrounding their so-called destiny in a moment of explosive truth. It began with momentum. Ridge had been pushing for an impromptu wedding fueled by passion, nostalgia, and the long history between him and Brooke. He wanted to erase the past, paper over the betrayals, and skip straight to a happily ever after. But Brooke, long the woman who followed her heart before her head, did something entirely unexpected. She said no, flat out. No hesitation. No wavering. Just a cold, clear refusal. And the reason. It wasn't just about timing. It wasn't even about Taylor. It was about truth, and the truth was far uglier than Ridge had prepared for. Because Brooke wasn't just turning him down. She was confronting him, publicly. And the words she delivered shattered Ridge's fantasy like glass. She reminded him of the pact, the sacred promise she and Taylor made not long ago to stop being pawns in Ridge's lifelong pattern of emotional manipulation. They swore to stand by each other, to rise above the cycle of competition he had placed them in for decades. That vow meant something to Brooke. And now, more than ever, she saw Ridge for what he truly was: not a man caught between two loves, but a man who used love as a weapon, who played with hearts like pieces on a chessboard, moving Taylor and Brooke wherever he needed to satisfy his ego. But Brooke didn't stop there, because she had been holding back a secret, one that twisted everything, one that proved Ridge's hypocrisy ran deeper than anyone imagined. Brooke exposed Ridge's affair not with some unknown woman, not with a stranger, but with someone inside the family. Someone trusted. Someone sacred. Donna Logan, Brooke's own sister. The moment was electric, silent, devastating. In front of Ridge, in front of the Forresters, in front of Carter, Eric, and even Donna herself, Brooke laid it bare. She had walked into the guest suite weeks earlier. The door was slightly open. What she saw stopped her cold. Ridge and Donna tangled in an embrace that was far too intimate to be explained away. Lips locked, arms wrapped, clothes halfway disheveled. Brooke had stood there in shock, in denial. She closed the door and buried it. She told herself it was a mistake, a misunderstanding, a moment of weakness. She told herself that Ridge was hers, that he would choose her, that he always did. So she said nothing. She swallowed it. She gave Ridge the benefit of the doubt again. But then came the proposal, the wedding plans, the rush, the pressure. And suddenly, everything made sense. Ridge wasn't chasing love. He was chasing control. He wanted a wedding not because he was sure of Brooke, but because he was unsure of what she knew. And now she knew everything. The betrayal wasn't just romantic. It was familial. Donna, her sister, the woman she defended so often, had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. And Ridge, who claimed to be done with games, was still playing the dirtiest one of all. Eric, hearing Brooke's revelation, went cold. His silence was louder than any scream. His son had not only betrayed Brooke and Taylor, he had betrayed him. Donna was his wife, his partner, his anchor in the chaos of the Forrester dynasty. And Ridge had destroyed that. The room erupted. Donna, cornered and tearful, admitted everything. She tried to explain. It was just once. It was a moment of weakness. It was Ridge. He came to her. She didn't plan it. She didn't mean for it to happen. But Eric wasn't interested in excuses. He had been humiliated, not by tabloids, not by rivals, but by his own family, in his own home, by the people he trusted most. And Ridge didn't deny it. He stood there, Still, silent, no rage, no excuses, just guilt. And guilt wasn't enough. Eric's fury was surgical, controlled, but final. I built this company. I built this family. And I'm not going to let you tear it down from the inside. Then came the words Ridge never expected to hear, certainly not from his father. Not in this lifetime. You're fired, gasps echoed through the room. Carter stood frozen. Brooke turned her face away. Ridge blinked, stunned. But Eric didn't waver. He repeated it louder, clearer. You're out, Ridge. As CEO, as lead designer, as my right hand. Effective immediately, security was called. And for the first time in years, Ridge Forrester, the Golden Son, the creative visionary, the face of Forrester Creations, was forced to walk out the doors of the company that bore his name alone. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Donna tried to beg forgiveness, but Eric refused to look at her. The betrayal was too close, too deep, and Brooke, though heartbroken, finally found clarity. She chose herself. She chose truth. And Taylor, upon hearing the news, reached out to Brooke not in judgment, but in solidarity. The vow they made had held. Ridge had failed them both, but they hadn't failed each other. Will this new bond between Brooke and Taylor hold? Can Eric truly sever ties with his son forever? And what of Ridge? Will he retreat? Will he fight back? Or will he spiral even further into the chaos he created? The Bold and the Beautiful has never shied away from explosive drama. But this isn't just another twist. This is a reckoning. The masks are off. The games are over. And the era of Ridge Forrester, puppet master of two hearts, has come crashing to an end. But in the rubble he left behind, new alliances are forming. New truths are rising. And new battles are just beginning. Because in this world, nothing stays buried. And no one stays powerful forever. The Bold and the Beautiful. Ridge hits rock bottom. Brooke and Taylor unite. And Donna faces the fallout. Ridge Forrester was once untouchable. The heir, the designer, the icon. But now, after being exposed by Brooke for cheating with Donna and fired by his own father in front of half of Forrester Creations, he finds himself on the outside, disgraced, discarded, and alone. The whispers followed him all the way out the building. His silence was deafening. His arrogance shattered. No security team could shield him from the shame that now defined his name. Outside, paparazzi caught the first shots of Ridge storming into his car, jaw clenched, eyes red. Reporters didn't need the full story to know something had cracked. Eric Forrester fires son after love triangle scandal was already trending by the time he reached Mulholland Drive. Inside the Forrester mansion, chaos had settled into quiet fury. Eric locked himself in his study, his usual calm and grace replaced by something colder. Donna stood in the guest room she once shared with him, no longer the adored wife, but the reason their marriage had crumbled. She cried, begged, left voicemails that went unanswered. The silence from Eric was her answer. He wasn't throwing plates. He wasn't shouting. He was simply done. Brooke, still reeling from her own heartbreak, didn't go home either. She went straight to Taylor. For the first time in years, there were no accusations, no comparisons, no jealousy. Just two women strong, hurt, and finally on the same side. Taylor had seen it coming. Brooke had tried to deny it. But now, they both knew the truth. Ridge didn't love either of them enough to be honest. He loved the idea of being loved, the performance of devotion, not the reality of commitment. Together, Brooke and Taylor made a decision. No more triangulation. No more letting Ridge dangle them like options on a shelf. No more second chances. Brooke publicly declared her exit from Ridge's orbit, and Taylor backed her up in an impromptu press conference staged at the Forrester media office. The message was clear. The Logan and the Hayes women were done being played. The fashion world erupted. Forrester Creations issued a tight-lipped statement confirming Ridge's departure, but refused to answer questions about the infidelity. Speculation, of course, ran wild. Anonymous sources leaked the name Donna within hours, and soon, a second headline exploded across tabloids. Ridge Forrester's affair with his stepmother ends marriage, career meanwhile. Ridge wasn't licking his wounds in silence. In a rented suite downtown, he called in his own emergency meeting not with friends, but with rivals. The first to arrive, Bill Spencer. The two men, longtime enemies, now had a shared interest, revenge. Ridge pitched an idea not just starting a new fashion house, but creating a direct competitor to Forrester, aimed to gut it from the inside out. He wanted poached talent. He wanted sabotage. He wanted war. Bill, ever hungry for chaos and headlines, listened amused, intrigued, but cautious. "I don't make moves out of emotion," Bill said, sipping his scotch. "I make them when they hurt." Ridge promised to hurt Forrester. He had plans, designs, secrets. He knew Forrester's upcoming spring line better than anyone, and he was willing to replicate, twist, and sabotage it if Bill backed him. But Bill wasn't the only person Ridge contacted. He also sent a message to someone even more dangerous, Quinn Fuller. After months in exile, Quinn had been lying low. But Ridge knew she was the wild card, the disruptor, the artist with a grudge. And if anyone could help him burn Forrester to the ground, it was her. The call went to voicemail, but Ridge knew she'd respond. Eventually. Back at Forrester, the vacuum left by Ridge's departure had to be filled. Eric, despite his heartbreak, knew the company couldn't stall. So he made a stunning decision. He named Thomas Forrester interim lead designer. The reaction was instant and divided. Some saw it as redemption, others as risk. Thomas, still under scrutiny for his past manipulations, knew the spotlight would be brutal. But he stepped into it anyway. For once, he wasn't riding Ridge's shadow, he was replacing him. And with hope for the future in crisis and the spring line in danger of being leaked, Thomas had no choice but to deliver. But Hope was hesitant. Her connection to Thomas had always been fraught, complicated by attraction, betrayal, and unspoken tension. With Carter now drifting away, and Liam hovering like a ghost from the past, Hope was again at a crossroads. She'd lost her faith in Ridge. Could she place it in his son? As for Donna, she disappeared from the spotlight entirely. Paparazzi caught her leaving LA for a supposed trip to Paris, but others claimed she was staying with Katie. The sisters, once close, were now divided. Katie had defended her in private, but the public couldn't forget Donna had destroyed a marriage. Not just Brooke's, not just Taylor's, but Eric's. And in the world of the bold and the beautiful, redemption doesn't come cheap. In the closing moments of the week's episode, Brooke stood alone in her backyard. She held Ridge's final letter unopened. She lit a match, and she watched it burn. Then came the final twist. Quinn called Ridge back, and she wasn't just interested. She was all in.